Retired NYPD Chief Drew Kapoor asked the question, I was always curious, why does the PC wear a uniform in Blue Bloods?
Because it looked good.
So you took
we knew it wasn't accurate, but we fudged it a little bit because obviously in the origin story and the backstory of the show, Tom's character had been a patrolman and then a detective, and so he had worn the uniform, and now that he was the boss, he once in a while still wanted to wear the uniform, but we knew we were fudging it. So good question. And
so he was a buff. We call them police buffs, guys that love uniforms, Kevin, it's sort of funny, and I know you're about the same. I think you're 2 years older than me. I'm
48. How? So
yeah. I'm 46. But so
that's straight.
You ask yourself at this time in your life, and you never want to stop growing and stop going and stop doing what you love to do, and you have to do something. No one wants to sit around and watch TV all day, or worse, sit in a bar and with people who are just talking about sports. There's a place for that, but not 24/7. Where are you going to go from here, Kevin?
It's good. I don't have a lot of hobbies. I don't play golf. I am 70. So a lot of my friends are living down the street from you in Jupiter, Florida in the winter. They're in Gulfstream or Jupiter. I've got, I actually love what I do. I've been doing it since I was 25 years old, and I was a bartender in Soho, and a theater called and said, we want to put your play on. I'd written a first play, and they put it on. And about a month later, I got to call the bar and say, I can't come in tomorrow. I've got a new job as a playwright. The play was kind of a hit, and they moved it to a commercial run. So I've always been very grateful to be blessed with some luck. And I actually like writing. And there's 6 hours a day where I don't know how I would fill it. I mean, I suppose I could, but it wouldn't be as fun as making something where there wasn't something before and offering out, hopefully, as entertainment to people. I enjoy doing that more than anything else I can
write. Do you write every day?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Wow.
And right now, when they agreed to publish Johnny Careless, which was off of about the first 6 or 7 chapters. And so that was, I thought, oh, somebody's going to let me actually write this. And they've agreed to publish it when I'm done. And after Blue Bloods finished, we wrapped up at the end of June last year. And I took most of the summer off and thought I had an idea for another one, a sequel to Johnny Careless with Jeet Mullane and the same thing. And I started writing it, and I showed a few chapters to the publisher, and she said, all right, we'll do it. So I'm in the middle of writing a sequel to it. And in my fondest dreams or wishes, the rest of what I do would be to write a book every year, 18 months, and have it published. And if we were to get enough of a fan base for this character and his stories, I'd love nothing more than to write, the way John D. MacDonald was able to do, the way Michael Connolly is, and Patricia Cornwall, who you mentioned, and Carl Hyacin. I mean, that seems to me like a dream job for an old dude sitting in the suburbs, with nothing to do.
And Kevin, you can live anywhere. That's the great thing too. Well,
the best of those is, and I'm going to do it one of these days. Ian Fleming, when he was first writing the James Bond novels, and Cubby Broccoli and Albert Saltzman bought the rights up front to all the James Bond novels he would ever write. And he said, well, let's see, I can do my business in London, and when London gets dreary, I can go to Jamaica and write the book that they're paying me for. And that's what he did. He had a little house called Goldeneye in Jamaica, and it seemed like the perfect way to beat the system.
And that was the name of one of the books or one of the movies, Goldeneye, right?
One of the movies was called Goldeneye. And to this day, there's a guy who turned Ian Fleming's house into a small hotel, built some other outbuildings, and it's called Goldeneye, and it's a beautiful little resort in Jamaica.
Wow, look, I mean, you live in the dream. I mean, of doing most people don't do a job that they love,
Yeah,
and you got that one part of your life covered. And it
I've been
sounds
really
like you've had a pretty damn good life. Funny, I was a bartender too. I worked
yeah.
at Pete's Tavern on 18th Street, the oldest
Still
original
there,
bar.
great place.
Yeah, yeah,
Still
I
there.
worked there before I
Now,
went
I
on the
got to
police.
ask you, when you were in Manhattan North, did you ever go by a place called Coogan's in Washington?
Yes, Dave Hunt. Dave Hunt used to work
Jimmy Days.
down
Jimmy
at Jimmy
Days.
Days.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
I used to-
my brother-in-law, Peter Walsh, is Dave's partner.
yeah,
And
I know
was Dave's partner in
Peter
Coogan's.
Walsh has a great singing voice too.
Yes, he certainly does.
I know.
My
Look,
daughter was
I love
married.
Coogan's.
My daughter Maria was married the summer before last, and Peter Walsh, as he always does, got up and we had a band, and he sang "House of the Rising Sun" at my daughter's wedding, and the caterer or the wedding planner the next day got about a dozen calls saying, "Where do I hire that guy?" The guy that they had come sing at the wedding.
I heard him sing at Coogan's. They used to do
Yeah.
karaoke, and he had an unbelievable
Yes.
voice. And
Yes.
he was a bit of a celebrity bartender before he
Oh,
became
yeah.
an
Yeah.
owner of Coogan's. And it's funny because when you said Jimmy Days, my brother, I lived on Barrow Street in the Village
Yeah.
back in the day. My brother had a rent controlled apartment. I lived there for like 6 years.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Days, and then it became Boxers, and I used to go there.
Oh,
And
Jimmy Day. We would go. I worked at the Riviera Cafe and a
I
place
remember
called
that
Montana
place.
Eve. So
Yeah.
we'd all get out of work. We'd close up the bar by midnight or 1 or whatever. And what was left open was Jimmy Days. And Dave Hunt was a bartender. And you go over there. And if you're a bartender going to another bartender, you're over tipping. You basically lose 50% of your day's earnings to tip in Dave Hunt.
That's true.